Alright, good afternoon guys, and welcome to another technical analysis update. Today is the 11th of July and it's just coming up to 2:30 p.m. here in the UK. So let me just do the quick checks and make sure that the audio and video are working, and it does look like the audio is working. The video seems to be working as well, so let's just crack on. So we start here with the cryptocurrency heat map. Everything's in the red, the great majority of it is anyway, with the pullback that we've had for the opening on Monday. And there's a few exceptions here, like ICP is up 6%. There's a few, Tezos is up 2%, but the great majority of it is in the red, as you can see. On the stock market heat map, it's a mixed bag. The great majority of it is in the neutral, but there is quite a lot of red there in the market as well. So it does look like we are due a pullback. Going forward into this week, there's a very important date here on Wednesday, the July the 13th, at round about 1:30 p.m. And that's basically this little area here, this meeting here, which is the core CPI and the CPI print that's coming out of the Federal Reserve of the United States. Okay, so this is basically the main instrument, the main measure, if you like, for inflation. So this will kind of set the tone of what's coming in for the next month or so. So we'll have to wait for that, but I would expect volatility on that day. And like I said, it's Wednesday, July the 13th at round about 1:30 p.m. in UK time. Regarding the correlation with Bitcoin and the S&P, you can see that the correlation is still very much alive. We did have a little bit of a pump here on Bitcoin, which we didn't quite see on the S&P. I mean, we did, but not in such an extreme fashion, if you know what I mean. So basically, Bitcoin had a nice little rally here, a nice relief rally. It's just retraced the whole thing, came back to normal. And the S&P is still kind of printing higher lows, and so is Bitcoin for that matter, actually. But a little bit of a sort of a unpegging there, decorrelation, but actually it's all just kind of in line. And if you look at this on the 4-hour, it's there's a little bit more of a discrepancy, as you can see there, where the S&P actually have rallied quite a lot stronger than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin had a nice little pump here just at the end of last week. So as the correlation is still alive and well, let's move on and go on to the S&P, and we start here with the weekly chart, and you can see that we're basically really sort of testing the value area low of the 2021 VWAP here, and basically we've this is held as resistance for quite some time now, and it will probably continue to do so. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of go a little bit higher, where this here will be the real resistance, which is basically the value area low of the 2022 VWAP, right? So this is basically 4,000 points, 4,050 points. That will be the real resistance and the real test. So I wouldn't be surprised if on Wednesday, if we've got some volatility coming, I wouldn't be surprised to see the price kind of like tap this level here, and then we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Just because we go all the way to this level doesn't mean it's bullish. As you can see here, we're printing lower highs, and even if we come all the way up here, it's still lower than this one, right? So lower highs and lower lows. Okay, I do believe that if we do go all the way up here and we get rejected, this is a low volume area here as well, as you can see. If we do go all the way up here again and do not reclaim this value area low, then I do think that that was basically the high, and we're going to go and print new lows. Okay, so not as bullish as I was at the end of last week. That pump was very encouraging, but unfortunately we've not broken any market structure on Bitcoin. I'll show you that in just a second. So on the shorter time frame is kind of bullish, but we're not seeing anything on the higher time frames that is indicating a real bullish signal here just yet. Okay, so again, like I said to you guys last week, the one thing that is actually encouraging is the fact that we've basically gotten above the quarterly VWAP for the very first time since way back in March. Okay, so this is obviously a good thing. We are struggling at resistance indeed, but we are above the quarterly VWAP. If you look at the other time frames as well, you can see here on the 4-hour chart that we're also above the monthly VWAP. Okay, we've just tested this previous month's VWAP close, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of like test this low volume area here around about 3,850 points, and then carry on moving up. Okay, but the real test, like I said, will be round about this level here, which is around about 4,050 points. On the weekly VWAP, you can see that we're basically rotational inside it. It's not really much to be said there, but the only thing that's looking a little bit bearish here is the fact that we couldn't even get above the previous week's value area high. Okay, so that's acting as resistance at the moment, and of course it has confluence with that low volume node, so maybe that's why. Okay, but a nice little push above here would be significant, and it would be sort of an indication that we are indeed going to test that 4,000 point level. Okay, so that's on the S&P, and of course, if, like I said, if we do see some volatility, it is imperative that we stay above the monthly VWAP and above this quarterly VWAP, which is more or less around about the same level, and that's sitting at around about 3,830 points. Okay, so as long as we stay above 3,830 points, then I think we've got an opportunity to go much higher to 4,000 points. But if we lose that level, then you can forget about it. This was the lower high, and we're going much lower. Okay, so moving on to the Nasdaq, very much the same scenario. You can see here on the higher time frames where we are. On the weekly chart, we're basically right where the value area low is, right there. Okay, and we've basically been rejected there quite a few times now. We've been rejected here, been rejected there, and just now as well. This is a low volume area here around about 12,000 points, 12,250 to be precise. Okay, and because we are being rejected there, this is also the -2 standard deviation of the 2021 VWAP, right? Because we're being rejected there, my indication or my incline is that we're going to get a little pullback and perhaps go all the way down here, round about 10,300 points. Okay, so maybe do something like this, right? Of course, like I said, with the volatility coming in on Wednesday, I think we're going to see a quiet market now until Wednesday, because everybody's expecting something to come out of that CPI print. So nobody wants to enter large positions until that CPI print comes out. So little scalps, I suppose. But at the moment, we're not seeing like big movements, big risks being taken, or much bidding at all. To be honest, it's kind of maintained. It's way up here, but we are at the edge of this high volume cluster here. As you can see on the higher time frames, we've got a big volume cluster there. We've reached the top now, and unless we break above it, then I think that we're just going to carry on going down to around about this level, 10,800 points. Okay. If we do break above this value area low, then the next level of resistance will be this low volume node here, right, which will be round about where the yearly VWAP, the current year's VWAP is, right, around about 13,527 points. All right, so that's basically what's going to happen. If the CPI print is positive, then obviously it might rally, and this will be resistance all the way up here, right, and then we'll possibly see another pullback and kind of rotate just sideways in between these two low volume nodes here, between this one and this one, right? But unless we actually see some volatility to the upside, I think this is the high already, and we could be going a little bit lower, down to around about 10,300 points. Okay, so this is on the higher time frame. On the lower time frames, you can see again we're also above the quarterly VWAP here, which is also where the monthly VWAP is. But you can see here on the 4-hour chart that we've got a really sort of very prominent low volume node here that's causing resistance and causing us problems going up. Okay, so unless we can get over this little hump here, then I think that was the high for now. Okay, so not really much has changed in terms of higher time frames. Just on the lower time frames, we saw a nice little push to the upside, but yeah, nothing significant. So moving on to Bitcoin, you can see here on Bitcoin we start with the weekly chart. I'll take the magnet off. On the weekly chart, we're basically still in a big downtrend. Okay, so I can just take this off for a second so it can be a little bit more clear. Hide all the drawings, hide everything. right? So, you know, it's very clear that we're still on a downtrend here, right? So there's nothing really much has changed. We're just kind of being held here by this previous little consolidation there. But putting the daily and the weekly levels out, you can see now that basically we're kind of in between two weekly levels. We did pump all the way up here to run about 22,592, and I'm just going to delete this line here, and you can see that that was the daily level. It was printed before, and it's actually now a the next level of resistance, 22,500. It's also the edge of a high volume cluster there, right? So it's unsurprising. Of course, if we break above this and we manage to stay above $22,500, then that's very bullish, and I think we've got a very good chance of going to 28,500. But for now, this is resistance until proven otherwise, and a closer level of resistance is this level here around about $21,000, which is a weekly level, okay? Which just got printed just the other week. Levels of support around about 19,300, which is also a weekly level, and potentially 18,200, which is a very old weekly level that comes all the way back from November 2020. I don't like paying much attention to these old levels. I prefer the recency of levels, but you can see that we basically just bounced there, right? So we bounced here, which is previous weekly level, even though we kind of went straight through it and then came back up again. That has been holding as support, so there's no reason for me to think that that level is not going to work at the moment, okay, unless it gets battered. On the, let me just take the daily weekly levels off, right? On the higher time frames here on the VWAPs, you can see that we're basically above this quarterly VWAP here on the top right hand corner. I'm showing you on the daily chart here, 12-hour chart. We're above the quarterly VWAP here, which is, you know, obviously very bullish. We're also above the monthly here on the 4-hour chart, which is around about the same level, and that's coming up at around about $20,300. Now, if we can stay above $20,300, I think that we have a good possibility to going all the way back up here to 21,800. Okay, so as long as we stay, first of all, we need to reclaim this point of control. This horizontal red line that you see across the screen here is basically a range point of control, right? So this range I've determined here, this is the value area high of the range, this is the value area low of the range, okay? And this is basically, I'm not just making this up, this is achieved by just doing the following, and I'll show you. Okay, we're just grabbing a volume profile, going here to this swing high, going to the most recent price action, and there we are. Okay, so that's the point of control. We are now below it again. We are above the monthly and quarterly VWAPs, so there is a possibility that we do a little bit of chopping here, but it's imperative that we stay above 20,300. If we can reclaim this again, then I do think that we've got a good chance of going all the way up here to 21,800. Okay, we do have that weekly level above us, which could cause a little bit of resistance. Right, so let's just put the weekly levels back on so that we can put everything in context. So we do have that weekly level here around about $21,000, but like I said, reclaiming this point of control would be fairly bullish, and it would mean that we're going to test the higher side of the range. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, of course it could come all the way up to here, 21,000, and then just roll over and come down, but obviously even more bullish would be reclaiming this and then going all the way up here. So where are we now? We're basically just below that point of control. We are above the monthly VWAP, so this is a confusing level. This is a level that's not, for me, it's a no trade level. Okay, just because this could go up or it could go down, we're right in the middle, and we don't diddle in the middle. Okay, this is where you get the chop. So you know, the better trade was all the way up here, or even all the way down here. So that's where the better trades are. At the moment here in the middle, it's very difficult to tell which way we're going to go. So if we stay above the monthly or the quarterly VWAPs, then obviously that is bullish, and that means that we could potentially go back up again. If we cannot hold this level here, then I think we're going to start going down to see these lower levels. Okay, so 19,600, which is where basically this low volume area is also the value area low of this range. Okay, and it's also the value area low of this monthly VWAP. All right, so basically, even if we come all the way down here, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so this is a low, this is a higher low, and that would be a higher low yet again. It's not the end of the world, right? It could mean that we're just kind of range bound in between these two levels, right? However, if we lose that level, 19,600, then I think we've got a very good chance to go and correct these levels here and perhaps even go much lower. Okay, so around about $16,000, $14,000. All right, we trade level to level. There's no point of trying to predict where we're going to go at this stage. But, you know, volatility coming on Wednesday as well means that, you know, this could get a little bit spicy here. We can do a little whipsaw to the upside, whipsaw to the downside, and then just carry on here in the middle again. So there's no point of like risking, in my personal opinion, any swing trades at these levels. Okay, if we get to the lows here or to the highs, then fair enough. The other thing that I want to pay attention to is that if we are above the monthly and the quarterly VWAP, like I said, it's bullish. Okay, especially if we can reclaim this point of control here at $20,500. So above 20,300, 20,500 is bullish. Okay, for the shorter term frame, for shorter term time frame. Okay, and I'll be looking to take profits at these highs if you were to go on a scalp long. All right, if we lose that level, then it's bearish on the shorter time frame. On the higher time frame, however, I want to show you something here. I'm just going to take the VWAP off for a second, and this line that you see here, this is basically a 200 exponential moving average, right? And you can see how the price has tested it, here, didn't quite get there, it's tested it here, it's tested it here another couple of times, and it's tested it here on this last pump, and it still cannot get above it. So on the higher time frames, unless we can get above that 200 exponential moving average, so it's 200 EMA, right? I am not I'm still kind of leaning bearish, if you like. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if we manage to reclaim this range point of control, right, and somehow manage to get all the way up here and test this again, it's really important that around about 22,400, okay, it's really important for the bulls that we reclaim this. If we can reclaim that there, okay, then I think that we've got a very good chance to going to that level there, around about 28,500. All right, but at the moment we're not seeing that. Even just on this massive run that we had to the upside here, we deviated down from the range. Once we reclaimed the range, which was basically here, we reclaimed it, confirmed that as support, and then it rallied, went straight to the other side of the range. Okay, now we went to the other side of the range, we've deviated above. Usually what that means is when there's a deviation outside of the range means that we go to the other side, right? The only thing that can disturb that is the point of control, and that's exactly where we're at. So at the moment we're on our way down here, make no mistake about it. We're on our way to $19,600. However, this point of control can disturb that, and if it does, and if it interrupts it, then we go all the way back up here again. And like I was saying, here it's crucial. This is basically where the lower time frame and the higher time frame meet, right? Break above 22,500, and I think we've got a very good chance of going to 28,000. If we cannot break above that 22,500, we do like a swing failure pattern like we did here, then I think then we'll have to wait and see if we can accept back inside of the range. And if we accept back inside of the range, that'll be a nice little short, and we go all the way back down again to the point of control, and potentially even down here to 19,600. And that's basically it. So on the higher time frames, we're still bearish. There's no change in market structure, as you can see here. Let me just take this brush mark off. Right, I mean, we can see that basically we have a low, we have a higher low, and this could potentially be yet another higher low, right? And we've printed, this was a previous high, we've printed a higher high here. So on the shorter time frames, yes, this looks very bullish, all right? But we're not seeing any higher time frame change in market structure. So really what we wanted to take is this level here, basically the last swing high before the dump, which is around about $23,000. And again, that would break us above that 200 exponential moving average here on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so if we can do that, then I think yes, definitely we'll go to 28,500. We'll go to this level here, right? But at the moment we're not seeing that, so we'll just have to do what the chart is telling us, and basically the chart is telling us that we're going to go lower. All right, so that's basically it, unfortunately. and I don't think the bear market is finished just yet. So we'll have to wait for that CPI print. But to put things in context, right, and just on the macro scale, if you like, you know, there's loads of talk of recession and everything. We're not out of the water by any means. I think, you know, the recession hasn't even started yet. We've started to see some of the effects, you know, the high prices, high inflation and everything else, but they're hiking the interest rates as we are to try and contain inflation, as we are sort of like being bombarded with hike in prices for food and fuel and all the essentials. So I think, you know, I think we're seeing the beginning of something a little bit more dark, you know. So I think we're probably going to see quite a significant pullback in the markets. Okay, I'm not seeing the strength that you would expect on the S&P or the Nasdaq. I think this was just a relief bounce. All right, so like I showed you guys already on the S&P, there was no change in market structure. Okay, we didn't break a previous high. There was nothing here that showed us that this was anything else other than just a relief bounce. Okay, and as such, it's basically being reflected on Bitcoin. It's just yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So I hope that is clear. All right, so we're looking at around about this level here, around about 22,500. If we can break that, then I do believe that we're going to 28,500. Okay, maybe a little stop around about here, 25,000 or whatever, but this is a low volume area, so I think we'll travel very, very quickly up to this low volume node at around about 28k. But at the moment, it does look like it's just on its way down to 19,600, which is where this low volume node is. Okay, so just play accordingly and just be careful holding onto coins in the hope that we're just starting a new bull cycle. Okay, I don't see any signs of that. Okay, I was a little bit more excited on Friday because you know, the way that we broke above this point of control and we got straight up here to run about $22,000, and we broke straight above this range. And like I said, if we could stay above 21,600, that's what I said to you guys on Friday. I believe that 21,600 is a key level here, which is basically the range highs, right? If we could stay above here, then fair enough, I think we have a very good chance to going up. But we got accepted back inside of this range, right? So as soon as the price came down below and then could not get above it, and retested it a couple of times here but could not get above it, this is your short signal here. And of course we'll be targeting this level down here and taking profits here at the point of control. All right, so that's basically what's playing out right now. We'll just have to wait and see what happens at these levels if we do get there. At the moment it looks like we've lost the point of control, so that's exactly where we're going to, but you know, I could be wrong, right? So there's no point of trying to predict where the price is going to go. Is it going to go to 16,000? Is it go to 28,000? We play level to level. At the moment, this is the range high and this is the range low, and the point of control is something that disturbs it in the middle, okay, interrupts it if you like. At the moment, we're on our way down here, and we'll have to observe what the price does when we're down here, okay? Any weakness down here will be indicative that we're going to see much lower prices, okay? And what I mean by weakness is basically losing this range low, right? And then if we put the line there, something like that, if we lose that range low around about 19,600 and then get to this level and start rolling over, this is an entry for a short, and we're going to go much lower, right? However, if it does get all the way up here and reclaims it, right, once it comes back down and confirms this line here, this will confirm that this was indeed a deviation, just like it did here, right? That this was a deviation. And of course, when we deviate out the range and get accepted back in, that means that we're going to go straight back up to the other side of it, okay, with the point of control as a take profit. So that's basically it. So we'll just have to wait until we are at one of the extremes, okay, either at the highs here or at the lows. But at the moment, for me, that's a no trade zone, and that's kind of how I'm going to play it. All right, so that is it for Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the market profile. Now, in fact, let's have a look at the volume profile first, and we start here with the weekly. And I think Boas has already pointed this out in the group. There is a naked point of control here, $20,230, okay, $20,229 to be precise, okay. So that's a naked point of control that's sticking out like a sore thumb very close to the price. Okay, the next one is way down around about $16,000, $15,920, and the other one is way up here around about $30,000. Okay, 30,100. So on the weekly, it does look like we want to tap that. God damn it, lost that. That we want to tap this naked point of control here at $20,187, $20,200. Okay, and if we can tap that and then carry on up, then great. But if we lose that and we carry on going down, like I said, 19,600 is inevitable. Okay, so that's the volume profile for the week. And in terms of the volume profile for the day, have a look at the monthly. Monthly, it's not really saying anything. If we look at it on the daily, we got a daily naked point of control here around about 20,178. So let's say 20,180. Naked point of control there. There's also a naked point of control just above us at $20,880. Okay, so two naked point of controls, two naked points of control, just one just below the price and the other one just above the price there. Okay, so 20,900 and 20,200 as the naked points of control. If we lose that one, then the next one is way down here at $19,000, which is below that $19,600, which is the bottom of the range, if you like, right? But there is one all the way down here at 19,000. And if we break above and take out this naked point of control at 20,867, the next one is way up here at 23,600. Okay, so not really, nothing really sort of like sticking out like a sore thumb really is in which direction we're going to go. I think we go lower here first, grab this naked point of control at 20,200 to 20,100, something like that, and then perhaps have a little bounce. If we don't have a bounce, then 19,600 is where we're going. On the market profile is a little bit clearer here, and I've got a composite value area of basically these two profiles here. So that's basically the value area high and the value area low. This is basically because these two, when they're merged together, well, they're merged together, of course, because the value areas overlap, right? So when they're merged together like this, that's basically the value area that I get. And once the price fell out of it, it could not get back in again, and then we kind of dumped. All right, so I can show you that there. Expand the clusters. We kind of fell out of it here. So it fell out of balance, right? It got into an imbalanced state. As soon as it tries to go back up there again, it couldn't even reach the value area low there, and it just kind of lost and lost and lost and lost and carried on down. So like I said, we did leave a naked point of control here at 21,300, and there is a naked point of control all the way down here at 20,157 on this. There's also a daily VWAP close that has been untapped at around about 20,150. So I think this is the level that we would need to take out. If you look at this carefully here on the profile, you can see that this is also a poor low. There's also a poor low here. So there's a few anomalies to the downside, right? In fact, there's poor lows all the way down to around about $19,000. Okay, so this, no excess on that, no excess on that, or this one, or this one. Okay, so we're seeing excess here. Was basically we just kind of like dumped a little bit hard and then gone straight back up again. It's left a nice little buying tail there. However, I do think that we've got plenty of anomalies to the downside that need correcting. All right, the one that sticks out here at the most is these guys here. Okay, so these guys are offside sellers. Okay, so they're basically, they were short at these levels. All right, now note what happened here. So these guys here were basically short sellers here at the lows, and they got trapped when the price moved up. So when the price comes back down again, what happens is the price bounced, and it bounced really dramatically. Look at how it, you know, we had a nice little short squeeze there, right? So this is basically that quarterly VWAP here. So this is on the 1st of July, right? The quarterly VWAP and the monthly VWAP resetting here. Don't know if you remember this. That was the short squeeze that we saw on the last day of the month. You can see that the price opened here around about 18,848, and it rallied straight away. In fact, let me just extend this so you guys can see, and the price just kind of like rallied straight back up all the way up there, and then retraced the whole thing and came straight back down again, right? But that was the short squeeze that caught quite a lot of people unaware, including me, right? So the price rallied here basically exactly where these guys The great majority of the delta here was short. When the price came back down again, right, so let's just explain it. When the price came back down again, look at where it bounced. It bounced right there, where basically where these guys were trapped. And the price just went sideways for a little while, and then it just carried on moving up and up and up and up. And here we are. Basically, we've left all of this, all of these guys are trapped short here. Okay, so let's explain that. So at these lows, everybody got trapped short. Okay, so what do you think will happen if the price comes all the way down here? It will bounce, because these guys that are trapped short here will want to get out of break even, and the only way they can get out is by buying. Okay, so I do think that if we come all the way down to around about 19,380, 19,000, something like that, it's also the value area low of the last 5 weeks here. Yeah, 19,300, 19,600, something like that, right? That's basically the levels that we were talking about on the candlesticks. This is a level that I think will find some support, all right? So I do think that at these levels, then we've got a problem, because obviously we're going to be below the the quarterly VWAP and the monthly VWAP. But we'll get to that stage, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I do think that this is a level of support if we do indeed break to the downside. All right, I don't want to overcomplicate things too much, but there's definitely some trapped traders down here. And even though the price rallied all the way up there, I expect to find a bounce when we come back down there again. All right, so that is it for the market profile. We can move on to Ethereum. And so basically, just recap here, so that everybody's clear here. So we're looking at around about 19,300, which is basically around about here, right? So 19,300 about here is basically where everybody got trapped short, right there, right? So it's only natural that if the price does come back close to this level here, then we'll have a little bit of support, because these guys want to get out of break even, and so we might see a little rally there. All right, but of course, what the problem is then is that we'll then be below this monthly VWAP and the quarterly VWAP, okay, which also has confluence with this mid-range point of control, right? So that will be very strong resistance going forward, right? So even if we do find a little bounce here and then come all the way back up here again, make sure you take profit at these levels here, because we could just completely just turn around and go much lower, right? So you just have to be careful. Of course, if we reclaim this, then yeah, it's off to the races and we go to the top of the range. But you see, it becomes a little bit tricky if we do lose this monthly VWAP, and we're right on it right now. Okay, it's showing a little bit of strength here, it's showing a little bit of a battle. We tried to get below it and we go straight back above it again. Here on the 4-hour chart, you can see that. But losing that means obviously we're going to here, but then we're below resistance. So let's just hope that this support level here holds if you are bullish on Bitcoin. So with that out of the way, I think I've given you some lower time frame levels, some higher time frame levels, and of course what happens on the sort of the lower time frames will determine what happens on the higher time frames. Okay, so meaning we need to break above this in order to be bullish. Okay, as long as we are below that on the higher time frames, means that we're bearish. Okay, we're still in a bear trend. If we break above this, then that means that these highs get taken out, right? Something like this, and that means that we are indeed printing higher lows and higher highs. So that could be the change in market dynamics that we've been waiting for so long. All right, so kind of a little bit of a crucial point here, 22,500. So I'll stop waffling on about Bitcoin. Let's move on to Ethereum. Ethereum here on the weekly, you can see that it's basically holding really well on this -2 standard deviation of the developing years VWAP, which is way down here, around about $1,000. Okay, so as long as we are above $1,000, we've got a very good chance of testing this $1,500 here. All right, it depends on what Bitcoin does, of course. We didn't see as much as an impulse on Ethereum as one would have liked, considering how bullish Bitcoin looked on Friday. But you can see here that the range is really clear. Right, it couldn't be clearer. We've got the quarterly view up here in the middle, which basically looks like we're just about to lose it. But we are at the midpoint of the range, okay? So this was the high of the range. We deviated above, came straight back down again, okay? Deviated below, went straight back to the other side. Deviated above, now it looks like we could be going down here. So we're just kind of range trading, right? So $1,000 you're long, round about $1,250 you should be either taking profits or being short, right? You can see there's low volume area, like a significant low volume area just above that resistance, you know, which is basically why it's causing resistance. If we break above this here and the price starts rallying up, then the next level will be around about here, $1,720, okay? And because this is low volume, the price will travel very quickly through that. So at the moment, we're not quite there yet. We are at the quarterly view up here. If we bounce, then I'm looking at the top of the range here to take profits or enter a short position, actually, because I'm not in a position right now. But if we cannot reclaim this equilibrium, this midpoint here, then we're on our way to this level here. So we just trade level to level, right? $1,018 for support, $1,247 for resistance. All right, so that's on the 12-hour chart here. So let me just take these brush marks off because they kind of like show everywhere. So if I take this range off here, it's a little bit clearer here on the 4-hour, right? So again, the same situation here on the 4-hour. I've got the monthly view up highlighted here in red, and you can see that that's basically where we're bouncing right now, okay? The quarterly and the monthly are, of course, exactly at the same place because we're still in July, which is the first month of the quarter. So it's only natural that they're still in the same place. You lose this level here, we're going all the way down to this level here, around about $1,000. If we reclaim this level here, then we're going all the way back up here to 1,260. It's as simple as that. All right, we're just range trading at the moment, okay? At the moment, of course, we're right in the middle of the range, so this is a difficult trade to have. Here, you should have been short. Here, you should have been long. So just make sure you keep an eye on what's going to happen next, okay? We'll have to observe what the price does at these lows, and we'll have to keep an eye on Bitcoin as well. But I'm more interested in trading down here or up here, right? I'm not really interested in trading in the middle, unless you fancy getting chopped up. Okay, so that's Ethereum versus USD. On the shorter time frames, you can see here we've basically lost the daily view up, which is also the weekly view up because it's the first day of the week, and it does look like it wants to travel all the way down here, right? It does looks like it wants to go lower, but at the moment, like I said, we're being propped up by the monthly view up, and the monthly view up is holding its support, so it's doing its job, right? So let's just hope it does, and if it does and we break above this level here, which is basically where the weekly VWAP is at $1,150, then I think we've got a very good chance to going back to $1,200 again, potentially even the range highs at around about $1,250. Okay, so we'll just have to wait and see. If we lose that level there of the monthly VWAP, then again, like I said, we'll be looking at $1,000 for levels of support right about here. Okay, I showed you this basically before on the higher time frames. If I look at the balance areas without the VWAP here, right, these are basically volume clusters. This is basically the edges of the volume clusters represented in rectangles, right, of these boxes that we're showing you here. We've tested the value area low, we've tested the low of this balance area, which is basically where this low volume area here is, okay, and it does look like we want to go all the way back down there again. All right, so that's basically an important level of support, key level of support, $1,000, big round number as well. Okay, we could go a little bit below here and even go as low as $780, $800 and still bounce, so just be careful with that. Basically what we don't want to get is acceptance below this level. Okay, we don't want to get acceptance back inside of this balance here between $800 and $400. So we could potentially just bounce here at 800, but we could also bounce at $1,000. Resistance, of course, like I said, it'll be around about $1,500, which is the edge of these two balance areas. Okay, so really quite simple stuff, really. And if I take the balance area off and we look at this, you can see that this area here, the low, if you like, is also where the -2 standard deviation for the 2021 VWAP is sitting at, right? So plenty of confluence at this level. $850, if you like, is the real level of support for Ethereum USD. All right, so with that out of the way on the higher time frames, on the lower time frames, you know where you are as well. We're basically in the middle of the range. We're neither at the highs, neither at the lows. You just have to wait until we get to either side. And it's basically, there's just no point of trying to take a trade here. Yes, we might bounce on the weekly, on the monthly VWAP here, but we've also got the weekly, the daily VWAP just above us, right? And we've got a low volume node just above us as well. So you could literally just do something like this and then just roll over. So what's the point of trying to take a long position? On the same hand, what's the point of taking a short position here when we could perhaps just fake to the downside and then just reclaim this and then shoot right back up? There's no, it's not worth in terms of risk reward here, right? In terms of risk reward, I mean, you could argue that there is, you know, for scalps and stuff if you're quick, but in terms of on the higher time frame, there's not really much in terms of risk reward to be betting to go either side. Okay, of course you could take a short position here if we lose the monthly VWAP, put the stop loss above the highs, and it still gives you a 3-hour trade. So you could argue that in terms of scalps, yes, you could definitely trade this. But in swing trading, this is, you know, I tend to concentrate on the higher time frames. This is basically, we're in the middle, right? So this was the good trade here, and this was the good trading location here. So at the moment, we're kind of in the middle. Let's just wait and see what happens, and wait for that sort of CPI print and see what the traditional markets are going to do, right? So you've got some higher time frame levels, you've got some lower time frame levels as well. You know where the support and resistance levels are for those. So let's move on to Ethereum versus BTC. And again, we're on a higher time frame here, and you can see that basically we're just still kind of confirming that this level here, which is basically the 2021 VWAP close, right? So this is the 2021 VWAP close here, is acting as support, and it's acted as support for quite some time now. All right, so we've basically bounced there on Ethereum BTC, bounced there at this level at 53,500 sats quite a few times. It is, however, struggling to get inside the -2 standard deviation of this year's VWAP, okay, which is obviously this line here that you can see on the chart here, right? So it is struggling to get above that. We got rejected there once, 3 or 4 times on this particular incident here, and twice here, right? So, you know, it's resistance until proven otherwise. Of course, if we reclaim this, right, then the next level of resistance will be all the way up here where this low volume node here is at 64,000 sats. That's basically the value area low of the current year's VWAP. Okay, but that means we have to break market structure and we have to get above these highs here. Okay, so reclaiming that area there will almost certainly propel us all the way up to here, right? And then hopefully what we would be doing is either knock at resistance or just carry on sideways and start sort of like getting compressing and getting a little bit closer to breaking above resistance. This would be definitely a good sign, breaking above market structure. But again, we're not seeing that, okay? We're still printing lower highs. And even though we're printing higher lows here, there's no break in market structure as such. So what this means is that we could quite easily just print a new low here and carry on much lower. So you just have to be careful here. All right, break above these levels here is a different story. Here I'll definitely be going long on Ethereum, and I'll be targeting this level here as the first take profit. All right, so where are we in terms of support and resistance? Let's just grab some levels here, resistance and support. We got support at 55,000 sats, okay, potentially decent support here around about 53,400 sats, okay. That's where the 2021 VWAP closed, right? So this could be potentially a very strong support here. In fact, it has been, right? But it has been tapped so many times, but it's still holding as support. So these two levels are the more interesting levels of support, or the closest levels of support. Levels of resistance, I've got this level here, which I could just move slightly up here, right, around about 57,600 sats, and then we've got this level here around about 60,800, and also this level here around about 65,000 sats. I'm going to delete this one just because there's too many levels there. Okay, and these are the levels of resistance that we've got above us. All right, so what we want to see, if you're bullish, is a break above this one here, confirm that this is indeed support, and then start tapping at resistance, breaking above it, confirming at support, going to the next one, tapping at resistance, and sort of like making constructive price action, you know, higher highs, higher lows, and so on. Right, we're not seeing that yet. Yes, we're seeing some higher lows, but we're not seeing the higher highs yet. We want to see this high get taken out, or at least these ones to start with. Okay, so that's basically where we are with Ethereum versus BTC. So with that said, let's move on to the FODL trading pairs. And if you guys are not sure, if you're new here, I always do just the DeFi coins that we chart here are basically FODL trading pairs. Okay, so the trading pairs that are available on the FODL platform. And as such, we're going to start with FODL USD. But just a quick reminder that it doesn't really matter what any of these coins do and what my technical analysis is saying, because if Bitcoin decides to have a dump, everything else will dump with it. So with that out of the way, let's just move on. And again, nothing really has changed on FODL versus USDT. This is on FODL versus Tether on OkEx. We are still making lower highs and lower lows, and we continue to break levels of support. These levels of support are kind of imaginary and hopeful, if you like, because they are really just big round numbers, okay, such as 100, 150, and so on. This is because we've got no frame of reference. There's no previous price action before, so we've got no market structure to work with. So we just go with big round numbers, which is basically where most traders want to trade at. On FODL versus USDC is very much the same thing. This is on sushiswap. We're still breaking levels to the downside. There's no consolidation or sort of sign of breaking the market structure, of going sideways price action. We're just going with the big round numbers, and we keep taking out these big round numbers. Okay, large liquid candles to the downside, basically on USDT and USDC, means that with this larger liquid candle to the downside, it means that if we do catch a bid, and if the price does decide to start getting bullish, it'll be very quick to travel all the way up to the next level of resistance, which will be this one here, okay, where there's a previous consolidation. And that's basically it, right? So at the moment, we're not seeing any change in market structure, very much the same. FODL versus USDC still on a downtrend on the daily chart here. Okay, FODL versus ETH. Going to take these brush marks off, and we did sort of find a little bounce here, okay, but we're not seeing again a break in market structure. I want to see basically the price either go past this level here, so go all the way up here, confirm that this is support, and then perhaps not even go as high as that, but you know, this level here, you know, so do something like this, consolidate for a little while, go back to this level of resistance, consolidate for a little while, and do this kind of price action like this, right? This is what we want to see for constructive price action, but we're not seeing any of that. We're just still printing lower highs and lower lows, okay? So if we lose this level here, then I'm afraid that we're going to carry on printing new lows, and we're going to carry on going down. At the moment, I'm not seeing any indication that it would be any different of that, okay? So keep that in mind. Binance versus USD. Now, actually, I forgot something. On Ethereum BTC, you can see that Ethereum here does look like today is not outperforming Bitcoin. Okay, we're down minus 0.2%. Okay, but you can see here that we're kind of like, it looks like it's outperforming Bitcoin. So when it comes to charting those altcoins, I'm going to chart just on Ethereum rather than on BTC and Ethereum as well. Okay, so just to make that clear, because there's no point of be trading altcoins if they're being outperformed by the best performing asset, in this case Ethereum or Bitcoin. All right, so that's why. So with that in mind, BNB is basically still above support at $207 here, and we've not quite got to resistance at $287. Okay, we're being stopped at around about $250. Okay, so potentially we could see a little bit of resistance here, so I'm going to put a little line there. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and that's basically the first level of resistance that we're seeing right now. We're basically trading inside of this range here. Alright, if we break to the upside, this here is going to be strong resistance at $287. If we break this level of support at $200, then I've already showed you this last week, then we've got a very illiquid move to the upside here. Okay, so these are large liquid moves to the upside, which means that it would be very quick for the price to get all the way to $150 and potentially even lower to $72. Okay, we could see a little bit of consolidation here. Let me just delete that. We could see a little bit of consolidation here as well, and maybe even a pull up like this. But you know, with low volume below us, the price always tends to go and find the path of least resistance. So this is a significant level of support in the sense where I'm not saying it's strong. Well, it is, but it's significant in a way that if we lose it, it's going to be a long way down to $130. Okay, so just bear that in mind, or $150 to be precise. Okay, previous level here, previous level of resistance, so round about $150. All right, lose 200, we go to 150. If we can hold 200, then 250 is the level of resistance. Okay, now we're going to go with BNB versus ETH, just because ETH is performing better than Bitcoin, so it makes more sense to chart this versus Ethereum. This level here, I put it as green because I thought that was going to be support. We did reclaim it. I'm going to put it as orange because at the moment we got kind of rejected there, as you can see here, rejected multiple times. All right, so this could be resistance here. If this is resistance and we start rolling over, this here will be the next level of support, and this will be the range that you should be trading in. Okay, so just put it like this in terms of perspective. Okay, if we do reclaim above this orange line here, which is around about 0.2033, if we can claim above this, then the next level of resistance will be way up here at 0.238. Okay, this is a 2033 way as support and 2382 as resistance. Okay, so that's Binance versus ETH, AAVE versus USD. We're still basically struggling here to try and find acceptance above this balance here, on basically this area here of consolidation, right? So we're trying to find acceptance above there, but we can't at the moment. So this here is the value area low of the developing years VWAP, as you can see there, right? This is the year VWAP, this is the value area low, and is acting as resistance so far. So as such, I think we trade inside of this level here. So this down here is support. My mouse is playing up, I do apologize about that. So this down here is support, this up here is resistance, and therefore I expect the price to do something like this. Okay, yeah, this level here is resistance until proven otherwise. Okay, reclaim that, and of course we're going to be looking at that level for resistance and this level down here as support for now. Okay, moving on to AAVE versus ETH. Now interestingly, this level here was broken and should act as support now. Okay, although everything is a little bit thin up here, but there was a little bit of consolidation, as you can see here. Resistance, support, support, resistance, until we broke below it. All right, here the same, we broke above it, confirmed that as support, went straight back to the top, and then we broke below it again, and here we are. We're basically back at this level again. So this here is resistance. This fucking mouse is pissing me off. This here is resistance. This level here should hold as support, and therefore the range should be this one here. Okay, so somewhere between 639 way and 749 way. All right, if we break below this one again, of course this is going to be the next range, and I'm going to leave this one off because I don't think that this one is relevant. Famous last words, of course, but I'm looking at this one here as a significant level of support because it is the yearly VWAP. Okay, so basically let's just have a look at these two ranges. Of course, if we break below this one, then this here will be the next level of support. But you know, for now, I think we've got plenty on our plate just by looking at this level of support, this level as resistance. All right. Moving on to compound versus USD. Now I can't remember if it was compound that pumped quite a lot. Yeah, so here we are. We basically ended up at resistance again, right? So we were at resistance, we got rejected there. The price did bounce here on around about $45 and came back and retested that resistance, right? So previous area of consolidate, previous area as support here is now acting as resistance. If we can break above that, then I think we've got a very good chance to going all the way up here, maybe even as high as the yearly VWAP. And the reason for that is because we've just broken inside the value area low. Okay, so if we can stay above this consolidation here, right? So if we stay above, was it $50, right? If we stay above $50, I think we've got a very good chance to going to $75 and potentially even $100. All right, but at the moment it does look like we got rejected there. So $50 as resistance. Next level of support would be around about $36. All right, $50 is a key level here, and I would say it's support, but it's not. Okay, it looks like we've been consolidating here, and the price is holding well, and it's really holding well because it's a big round number, $45, $50. Okay, if we stay above this, then yes, like I said, we're going to go up, but it's very easy for the price to get straight back below it again and continue to a previous level of support way down here around about $36. All right, so just to try and be clear, because I think I sort of messed that up and was a little bit confusing there, we've just reclaimed the value area low of 2022 VWAP. Okay, so that's bullish. As long as we stay above this level here, which is sitting at around about $50, right, we've got a very good chance of breaking above this resistance and going to the next level of resistance, which will be way up here. Okay, and do something like this. However, if we break back below $50, then the next level of support will be way down here around about $36, which is where this low volume node is. So then would be 36 as support, $50 as resistance. I hope that makes sense. So moving on to compound versus ETH. I'll put this level as orange, not green because it's not proven support just yet. I'm going to delete some of these lines here. Okay, so this is previous resistance here, of course. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke straight above it, okay, and we are above the value area high of the yearly VWAP. Okay, so this is bullish. However, this could be just a normal deviation, and if we get back inside of here, then the next level of support, and it is indeed important, is this one down here, right, which is basically the yearly VWAP. All right, at the moment it does look like it wants to stay above there, right? So if that's the case, I would say that this is resistance here. Okay, so if that's the case, this is resistance, this is support, right? Therefore we'd have a tiny little range in here somewhere like this, okay, until we break to either side. Of course, this looks bullish, so you would be inclined to think that we were going to break further upside. All right. However, if we get back inside this yellow line, if we go far below it like this, then the next level of support is this one here. Okay, and therefore we would be doing a range something like this. All right, that's what I'm looking on compound versus ETH. Moving on to BAT versus USD. BAT USD, basically where we got rejected here, right? This is the value area low of the yearly VWAP, as you can see that in blue there, right? So this is the VWAP here, this is the value area low, and we've got rejected there. Of course, that means we get accepted straight back into this rectangle here, which is basically a high volume cluster, high volume node, and therefore the little range that I've been raving on about, which is basically this level here as support, this level here as resistance. Okay, and as such, that's basically where we are right now. Okay, we're just trading inside of this little range here. All right, if we break below this level here, then we could potentially go all the way down to these levels here. If we break above that level there of resistance, then the next level of resistance would be way up here, and this one here is a big one because it's so close to the yearly VWAP up there. Okay, so at the moment 45 cents as resistance, and support could be 35 cents for BAT versus USD on Binance. BAT versus ETH, basically we got rejected there. This level here should hold as support. It's basically the value area high of the developing year VWAP. Okay, so I think that we're basically, just delete this a minute. Right, so resistance, support, and therefore the range will be somewhere inside of there, like that. If we break below this level here, then I think the next level of support will be this one here, the yearly VWAP, right? If we break above it, the next level of resistance will be way up here. That's BAT versus ETH. Link, let's have a look at Link USD. Now Chainlink is still holding here for dear life as support. Okay, it's on life support machine at the moment. It doesn't look great as it's tapped that level of support so many times now. Okay, so I will adjust that. I will move that level of support sort of like here somewhere. Okay, but you can see that overall the volume cluster is much bigger and it goes much below, much further below there. Okay, so the next level of support is this previous level of resistance here, around about $5. So if we lose this level here, the next level of support will be around about here, $5, right? And of course, if we break above this previous level of resistance here, right, which is $7.80, the next level of resistance will be around about $9, $9.50, this one here. But for now, it does look like we are inside of this range here, right? So trading somewhere between $6 and $7.80. Okay, so that's support and resistance on the higher time frames for Chainlink. So support at $6.20 and the resistance at $7.80. Link versus ETH, very interesting. We have bounced basically on this yearly VWAP here, right? You can see this blue line there. So this means that we've tested, we broke above resistance, we've retested that previous resistance, confirmed it as support. So I do think that Link will continue to outperform Ethereum in the very near future. It has been, as you can see here, it's outperformed Ethereum for quite some time, and this is a good sign that it will continue to do so. Okay, so Chainlink at the moment at the bottom of the range, and it's got plenty of room to run all the way up to the top there. Okay, please note this little line here in faint orange, which I'll change that slightly. I'll put this as a sort of like a slightly brighter there. Okay, in fact I'm going to put it here. Okay, this is a significant level of resistance because it is the apex of where we were trading here. Alright, so this is market structure, low, high, we broke below the previous low and then could not break back above it. Previous level of support turns to resistance, and therefore there's a little line there to confirm that. Okay, but if we do indeed break above this one, this will be the next level of resistance. So we could argue that we've got a nice little range going on in here like this, but on the higher time frames with this support of the yearly VWAP, I do think that we've got potentially very good reason to go all the way to the value area high of this yearly VWAP. Okay, so that's support and that's resistance all the way up there, but I would take profit somewhere in the middle here, right? Just because price could go all the way up here and then just kind of turn over. So just make sure you're smart about it. Now finally, Uniswap versus USD. Now Uniswap broke out of this range here. Okay, so we were basically consolidating here for ages. We deviated to the downside, went straight to the range highs, and of course we've just broken above it. So this level here should hold as support now. So as such, let me just delete some of these brush marks. Okay, so I think that this level here now is resistance, this level here is support, and therefore the range should be here, like this. Right, and that's basically what we're seeing here. This is level of resistance, this was previous resistance, should now turn to support. Okay, therefore we got that range. Of course, if we fall back inside of this range here and do something like this, try resistance again, and then if we can't get back above it, then we know it's going to go all the way back down here again. Okay, and if it does something like this, then this here is your short position. Okay, don't go chasing the short by as soon as it comes down like that, all right, because it usually goes and retests the edge. And if you chase the price like this, then you're going to be underwater for a very long time, if we even stay stuck in the range, right? Because this could also do something like this and continue higher. So it's much better to do it on confirmation. So if we fall back inside of the range, get up here and then cannot get back above it, and it starts curling over like this, then this is an entry for a short. You put the stop loss above this here, and you'll be targeting the range lows down here. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, this is just for educational purposes, but it does look like we broke above resistance. This now needs to hold as support. Now this is going to be resistance, and this is going to be support here. Break below it, this will be support here, which is the value area low of the yearly VWAP, right? And the range will be something like this. But for now, I'm convinced that we're going to this level here, around about $8 for Uniswap versus USD. Now Uniswap versus ETH. Very interesting. I'm going to delete some of these levels here. Start fresh. So we broke above the yearly VWAP. I confirmed that that was support. Broke above the value area high. We came back, we tested the second standard deviation, came back and tested that value area high as support now. As you can see that there, right? Confirmed it here as support, and then went a little bit sideways, and now it's continuing higher, right? So we are above the second standard deviation, so I expect a little pullback here at some point. But if this continues to have a big hard on like this, and it continues to go higher, then I expect this level here to be the next level of resistance. And these levels here as resistance as well. Okay, particularly that one there, because it's on the edge of a high volume cluster. So I'm just going to leave those two there. Okay, levels of support, of course, the important ones. This one here I'm going to put it as orange because it's fairly recent. Okay, but the important ones really are this one here and this one here. Okay, this is basically, even if the price comes all the way down here, we could still bounce there. All right, because this is the value area high of the 2022 VWAP, and this is the 2022 VWAP right there. Okay, so levels of support, levels of resistance, there we are. Okay, so I think that's all of the coins. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and see if anything's changed in terms of dynamics. Not much has changed. We're still below that point of control. We're still struggling to try and get back above this daily weekly VWAP around about $21,000. So we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, the price does look like it wants to pump here. Look, it wants to pump, but this now is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. 20,500. I said 21, but it's actually 20,500. So 20,500 is the sort of intraday level of resistance here. Okay, and 20,300 as the intraday level of support. Okay, which I think we've just tapped. So anyway, I will have another technical analysis update before the CPI print on Wednesday, and hopefully that will keep you on the right side of the trades. But like I said, we're kind of in the middle here. There's no really not very clear trend here to where we are. Okay, I think if we're going to choose a trend, we're going to have to choose with a higher time frame trend and that's basically a downtrend. Okay, we're still printing lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so here on the 4-hour chart it's changed slightly, but we haven't broken market structure to the upside. Okay, we've got some higher lows here, but we haven't broken this market structure. So again, unless we break above $22,500, I'm not bullish. Break above here, and yes, I'll be definitely bullish, and I'll be looking at 28,500 for the next level of resistance. Okay, so for now, I hope this keeps you on the right side of the trades. I hope it was useful to you. I'll do the timestamps and I will post them, and yeah, I'll have another TA update for you guys on Wednesday. In the meantime, take care and speak to you soon. Bye bye.